improvement in capacity utilization in manufacturing sector to 63.3% in Q2 of 2020-21 from 47.3% in Q1 of 2021. Consumer confidence is reviving and business expectations of manufacturing, services and infrastructure remain upbeat. The movement of goods and people and domestic trading activity are growing at a robust pace. Electricity and energy demand reflect a broader normalization of economic activity than in December, even as fears of a second wave abate. Data for sales and new launches of residential units in major metropolitan centers reflect a renewed confidence in the real estate sector. Manufacturing, services and composite purchase managers index PMI are in expansion zones. Furthermore, the vaccination drive is expected to provide an impetus for the restoration of contact-intensive sectors and a leading edge to the Indian pharma industry in the global market. Foreign direct investment and foreign portfolio investment to India have surged in recent months, reposing faith in the impressive recovery in the Indian economy. Ahead of a broader infrastructure revival, the speed of daily national highways construction is rising and the pace of award of national highway projects in 2021 has doubled year on year. What is more, the flow of financial resources to the commercial sector has been improving, particularly in respect of non-food bank credit and via commercial paper, credit by housing finance companies, private placement of corporate bonds and foreign direct investment. The total flow of these resources is rupees 8.85 lakh crore so far, up to January 15th, compared with 7.97 lakh crore during the corresponding period of the previous year. The latest bank lending survey of the RBI suggests further sequential improvement in sentiment on loan demand across all sectors right up to Q2 21-22. Taking these factors into consideration, GDP growth is projected at 10.5% in 21-22, in the range of 26.2% to 8.3% in H1 and 6% in Q3 of the coming financial year, that is 21-22. The Union Budget 21-22 has provided a strong impetus for revival of sectors such as health and well-being, infrastructure, innovation and research, among others. This will have a cascading multiplier effect going forward, particularly in improving the investment climate and reinvigorating domestic demand, income and employment. The investment-oriented stimulus under the Atmanirbhar 2.0 and 3.0 given during the peak of the pandemic has started working its way through and is improving the spending momentum along with the quality of public investment. Both will facilitate regaining India's growth potential over the medium term. The projected increase in capital expenditure in the Union Budget augurs well for capacity creation and crowding private investment, thereby improving the prospects of growth and building credibility around the quality of expenditure. Let me now focus on our assessment of the inflation. After breaching the upper tolerance threshold continuously since June 2020, CPI inflation moved below 6% in December for the first time in the post-lockdown period, supported by favorable base effects and a sharp fall in key vegetable prices, the latter accounting for 90% of the decline in headline inflation during November and December. Both higher fresh arrivals and active supply-side interventions contributed to this favorable development. It is expected that vegetable prices will remain soft in the near term, while pressures may continue to persist in certain key food items. The outlook for inflation is influenced by escalation in cost push pressures seen in recent months. Petroleum product prices have reached historic highs as international crude prices surged in recent months and the high indirect taxes remain both in the center and in the states. These, along with the sharp increase in industrial raw material prices, have resulted in a broad-based increase in prices of services and manufacturing products in recent months. Going forward, concerted policy action by both center and states is critical to ensure that the ongoing cost buildup does not escalate further. Taking into consideration all these factors, the projection for CPI inflation has been revised to 5.2% for Q4 of the current financial year, that from January to March, and to 5.2% to 5% in the H1. Let me repeat, for the current quarter, our projection is that CPI inflation will be 5.2%, and for H1, the range we are giving is 5.2% to 5%. And for Q3 of next year, we are projecting 4.3%. And we are assessing that the risks would be broadly balanced. By March 21, the government would be reviewing the inflation target for the next 5 years. The experience with successfully maintaining price stability and gains in credibility for monetary policy since institution of the inflation targeting framework, barring the COVID-19 period, needs to be reinforced in the coming years, even as we exit the pandemic and seek to exploit the opportunities of the post-COVID world. Price stability is the foundation on which economy can strive to reach its potential in a virtuous cycle of higher financial savings and investment, reduced uncertainties for firms in investment and wage decisions, reduced term and risk premia in financial markets, and increased external competitiveness. I now proceed to provide some forward guidance with regard to the liquidity situation and our approach to liquidity management. The Reserve Bank and the markets evolved a shared understanding towards cooperative solutions during the pandemic period. A large government borrowing program was managed seamlessly. The issuance of corporate bonds reached a record level, that is 5.8 lakh crore during April-December 2020 as compared with 4.6 lakh crore during April-December of 2019. Explicit forward guidance was an innovative feature in the conduct of monetary policy during 2020-21. In addressing the discomfort of markets regarding persistently higher inflation prints and the large supply of government paper, the maintenance of financial stability and orderly evolution of yield curve. I have said this before and I repeat, the maintenance of financial stability and the orderly evolution of the yield curve were explicitly regarded as public goods, as the benefits accrue to all stakeholders in the economy. The RBI's market operations dispelled illiquidity fears and bolstered financial markets sentiment. Convinced by RBI's communication and actions, market participants also responded synchronously and cooperatively, which bears testimony to the effectiveness of our forward guidance. The measures taken by the RBI, combination of policy rate cuts, proactive liquidity management, and regulatory forbearance against the backdrop of global spillovers and the nationwide lockdown, ensured smooth transmission of policy rate cuts across the market spectrum, narrowing of risk spreads and rekindling of the corporate bond market. In GSEC market, in which risk-free benchmarks evolve, a record low weighted average cost of 5.78% and an elongated weighted average maturity of 14.9 years testify to the credibility of monetary and liquidity management operations of the Reserve Bank of India. On January 11th, money market and GSEC yields firmed up on perceived market misconceptions about the RBI reversing its accommodative policy stance. I repeat, on January 11th, money market rates and GSEC yields firmed up on perceived market misconceptions about RBI reversing its accommodative policy stance. In this context, it's very useful to remember that variable rate reverse repo auctions are already a part of our menu of instruments as the main tool under which the revised liquidity management framework this was the main tool under the revised liquidity management framework, and they were in active use even before the pandemic. They are voluntary, and in any case, the recourse to overnight fixed rate reverse repo remains available on a daily basis. Variable reverse repo rate auctions offer a higher remuneration than fixed rate reverse repo in view of the longer tenor, that is 14 days. The stance of liquidity management continues to be accommodative and completely in consonance with the stance of monetary policy. Let me reiterate and repeat, the stance of liquidity management continues to be accommodative and completely in consonance with the stance of monetary policy. The RBI stands committed to ensure the availability of ample liquidity in the system and thereby foster congenial financial conditions in the recovery to gain traction. It would be worthwhile to note here that reserve money rose by 14.5% year-on-year on January 29th, led by currency demand. Money supply, that is M3 on the other hand, grew by only 12.5% on January 15th, 2021. Since early November 2020, international crude prices have risen following optimism on back of vaccination and news on additional policy stimulus. These factors have engendered a return of risk appetite and an intensified search for returns, resulting in surges of capital flow into emerging market economies like India and consequent increase in volatility in financial markets. The RBI has, however, proactively taken steps to insulate domestic financial markets from global spillovers and consequent volatility, while ensuring comfortable domestic liquidity conditions. A two-phase normalization of the cash reserve ratio, CRR, which I am going to announce, needs to be seen in this context. Systemic liquidity would, however, continue to remain comfortable over the ensuing year. In fact, the CRR normalization opens up space for a variety of market operations to inject additional liquidity. The underlying theme of our endeavor in these areas would be to flexibly use all instruments in our arsenal appropriately without jeopardizing financial stability, which is at the core of RBI's policy objectives. Gross market borrowing of the center for 21-22 is budgeted at rupees 12 lakh crore. As the government's debt manager and banker, the Reserve Bank will ensure the orderly completion of the market borrowing program in a non-disruptive manner. In this context, we look forward to continuance of the common understanding and cooperative approach between market players and the RBI during 21-22 also. I would now like to proceed to make some additional I would like to now announce certain additional measures, and many of them are actually very critical and have wider impact on the financial sector. So I would request your patience. The first set of measures relate to liquidity. The first measure is TLTRO on-tap scheme, inclusion of NBFCs in the scheme. With a view to support revival of activity in specific stressed sectors, the RBI had announced the TLTRO on-tap scheme for banks on October 9th, 2020. Given that NBFCs are recognized conduits in reaching out to the last mile in various sectors, it is now proposed to provide funds from banks under the TLTRO on-tap scheme to NBFCs for incremental lending to specified stressed sectors. The next announcement relates to restoration of CRR in two phases beginning March 21. To tide over the disruption caused by COVID-19, the cash reserve ratio of all banks was reduced by 100 basis points to 3% for a period of 1 year ending 26th March 21. On a review of monetary and liquidity conditions, it has been decided to gradually restore the CRR in two phases in a non-disruptive manner to 3.5% effective from March 27th and 4% effective from May 22nd, 2021. As mentioned earlier, the CRR normalization opens up space for a variety of market operations of the RBI to inject additional liquidity. The next measure relates to marginal standing facility MSF extension of the relaxation. On March 27th last year, banks were allowed to avail of funds under the marginal standing facility MSF by dipping into statutory liquidity ratio up to an additional 1% of net time and demand liabilities. This facility, which was extended in phases up to 31st March 2021, that is, coming 31st March, will now be available for a further period of another 6 months, that is up to September 30th, 2021, to provide comfort to banks on their liquidity requirements. This dispensation provides increased access to funds to the extent of rupees 1.53 lakh crores. The next set of announcements relate to regulation and supervision.